Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maximo and I'm here playing Rover. That's pretty much all I've got to say about it. This is like the fourth game that I have neglected in the Vita's case, and it is probably the only one that even approaches being decent. It's not great, but I will at least call it decent. So, strangely enough, there's no audio. Where the hell is the music gone? I have no idea. This is really weird. As far as I remember, there's supposed to be audio out here, but I guess there's not. Alright, whatever. So this is basically if Enter the Gungeon had any and all charm stripped out of it. That's basically how I summarize the game in general. There is more to it than that, of course, but we'll get into that very shortly. About is literally just the credits. I don't know why. Settings is weird because you've got your audio and your music here, your sound effects and your music. Sound effects and your music, god damn it. You've got them here, but then you've also got your auxiliary settings, which is all your gameplay stuff, which seems weird. Like, you think this would be, like, the most important stuff, especially since, like, you pretty much want to turn all of these on. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't turn any of these on, but, I don't know why you'd keep any of these off, I should say, but they're there, and you should probably go turn them all on, because they're all very useful. So let's just go play the game. You've got arcade mode and dodge mode. I have no idea what dodge mode is. I assume it's the... Excuse me. I assume it's the, dodge... Yeah, it is. It's the dodge challenge that they let you find at some point of the game, but we'll just leave that one alone for now. Because I actually found this in the main thing, and it's not really that entertaining to watch. So we're just going to play arcade mode. If you're wondering why, like, all the text looks weird, like some of it is oddly squashed and stretched, it's like that on the Vita screen too. The font size is just not right, so it just looks weird. But anyway, you start out just in this, like, regular room, and then you move on up to a combat room, and you have to fight off a bunch of dudes. You control your character via the left stick, you use the right stick to shoot. You have a dash ability on the L button, but if I'm being perfectly honest, it charges so slowly that I found basically no use for it. So I just find myself just wandering around normally. And you do have a manual fire control on the R button, which I thought was a little bit weird at first. But as it turns out, there are multiple different kinds of weapons in this game that actually use that fire button differently. So, well, it makes sense once you get used to it. So don't get used to the idea of just being able to wander around and move the right stick in the direction that you want to shoot. That's not going to last forever. You have the ability to press triangle to swap weapons, but you need to get an unlock for that. Oh look, it's the fucking dodge! God damn it, really? Really? You can press square to see your equipment, and if you've collected enough money from the individual rooms, it'll let you upgrade this stuff. Your powertrain is your move speed, your booster is your dodge speed, your machine gun is your regular weapon, your probe also has weaponry, so you can upgrade its weaponry and swap out its weaponry as well. And you've also got skills and plugins that you can get that are all pretty self-explanatory. It tells you what you need to do when you're on your way there. So yeah, bullet dodge challenge. This is something you can run into along the way. And if you manage to survive whatever the game's got in store for you, massive sets of bullets wise, for about 1 minute, it'll give you a bunch of rewards for managing to pull it off. You might also notice that small glowing green thing in the middle of my character. That's my hitbox, because this game does have some bullet hell tendencies. With that said though, it makes enough sense. Dashing actually pretty useful in that case, where the big massive sets of bullets are coming at you, there's no other real way to avoid them. You may have also noticed that the performance went to shit when too many bullets were on screen. If you didn't know it was a Rattle-like port before, I don't know what to tell you. It absolutely is one. Also, that timer counting up at the top of the screen, it's weird. Don't ask me why. it does that for the dodge challenges. It just does. Okay, how long did I last? Score invalid? Damn. Oh well, we'll just leave that one alone then. The rewards would have been nice, but they're relatively unnecessary. Let's move on. So remember how I said this game was basically enter the gungeon without the charm? Well, that really is basically what it is. You go between rooms, you've got these transfer pads that are in every single room that you can use to quickly teleport between rooms. And there are sometimes bosses that you'll need to fight. There are also locked doors that you need to hunt down keycards for. They're usually either hidden in bosses or dropped during boss fights. You'll need to find all of these keycards in order to make it to the very end of the game, which basically means you need to explore in every single direction. It's not like a regular roguelike where you've got the risk-reward factor of exploring every room for extra resources but chancing losing your health in the first place. It's more of you'll need to explore everything anyway, so you might as well just pick a route and go and come back for the rest later. Oh, cool. Extra ammo for the probe. That means you can shoot more. It's weird, I know. Like, you expect it to be like, you know, what's the phrase? You expect, like, limited ammo, right? And you think to yourself, well, I guess I'll just... No, I guess I'll just, like, have, like, more ammo so I don't run out as frequently, but it just determines how many shots you have. It's weird. It's not the use of ammo that you're used to. But the game just continues on like this, basically. You walk into a room, there's a bunch of robots, and you fight them. The thing is that it's really easy. Now, I don't mean to humble brag. I really don't. Because I really do think the game is too easy for its own good. Like, they're barely firing any bullets at me. I'm just, like, keeping my distance, waiting for them to fire at me. It'd be harder if all of the enemies in the game, like, were actually triggered as you walked into the room. But I'm assuming due to performance concerns, all of the enemies don't actually activate until you're in view of them. So it's really easy to just go in and take enemies like a handful at a time, even with your basic weapon. Like, obviously, you're going to want to, be careful, but at the same time, as long as you're taking it relatively slowly, it's not going to hurt you. And there's a door that needs a keycard over on the right there. So you just find yourself walking into a room, taking down a handful of enemies at a time, and doing really, really well. Oh look, it's popped me into a boss fight right away. That's not a good start. Oh well, I've got a decent gun. Maybe I can actually make this work. But yeah, the game itself is really easy. The bullet patterns are... Like, if you've played something like Darius Burst before, these bullet patterns are nothing to you. And again, I'm not meaning to humble brag, but the game tells you how many rooms you managed to finish without taking any damage when you finish the game. And of all of the rooms in the game, I managed to complete half of them without taking a single hit. And if a game's that easy, you can't help but think to yourself that they might have turned down the difficulty a little bit too much. Just a little bit, fellas. Like, you know, you could have stood a risk to put it up a little. I will point out that finishing the game isn't actually what you need to do to get the platinum, because I got the platinum like halfway through my first run. So it's not that hard to get either. Great for your goddamn trophy whores out there that have made a mockery of what trophies are meant to really be about. The only real downside to finding a boss fight this early is that since my weapons aren't particularly powerful, I just kind of have to wait out the boss, more or less. Unfortunately, that means I'm not going to get the Blitz special for this room. I'm not going to get the Unscathed special either, which are basically just like money caches more than anything else. Like, you can see that orange timer counting down up the top there. That's your Blitz and your Blitz countdown. Your unscathed countdown is obviously just get through the room without taking a hit. Thankfully, you do get rewards for winning against the bosses anyway, including just like some basic stuff down here. Like, I don't know what those points are in the top left. I think they're just score, but that's just kind of weird to me personally. So I've got 94 points. So if I hit square, I can go and upgrade some stuff. So your primary weapon is always upgraded. Like, even if you swap it out for another weapon later on, it's always going to maintain that upgrade level. So it's always worth giving that an upgrade. You should probably also upgrade your weapon ammo, because that'll just give you like more shots, and that's always a good thing. I'm not going to go into level 4 just yet. Neither am I going to go into level 5. Do I have any better options? Well, I can come back up here and grab that armor pickup that I left behind. That's probably a good idea. Level 3, that'll do. The game very rarely, like, switches theme or just, like, changes up the gameplay in general, which I find kind of disappointing. I will at least give a credit for arms variety, not armor variety, arms variety, as in weaponry. Because they do have a fair few different kinds of weapons. Most of them seem more suited to short-range combat than long-range, though. Because you got shotguns, you got Tesla cannons, you got this pulse machine gun here. I don't know if there's anything along the lines of, like, long-range, precise, but otherwise particularly, like, needs to be accurate sort of weaponry. Come on, thank you. There we go, unscathed and blitz. Give me my moolahs, please. There is a couple of, like, neat things you can go for. There are teleporter pieces. If you manage to find all 4 of them and find the teleporter room, it'll put you into a gauntlet filled with enemies. Like, it's the most difficult room in the game by far, and even then it's not particularly hard. And once you get to the end of it, it'll give you a ridiculous amount of resources, which will usually be enough to stack you up for the final boss, which isn't really a final boss. The game just has bosses, more or less, and once you've beaten all 4 of them, that's it. It's kind of like Rogue Legacy in that sense, except even Rogue Legacy knew that it was kind of worth the effort to make the bosses, like, structured in a way that made them, like, linearly difficult and not, like, roughly the same amount of difficulty, which doesn't really work in the grand scheme of things when you're talking about things like, when you're talking about bosses that maintain the same difficulty but you get more powerful. So it's just weird. The design of the game is just strange. Although I probably wouldn't surprise you to hear that this game was originally released on mobile phones, so seeing that it doesn't really maintain either, like, difficulty... Well, I'll look a teleport apart. Get the components of the teleport. Also some armor, that's nice. I'm not in so overpowered I can kick everything's ass yet mode. The game doesn't have... Yeah, give me a random item, let's see. It's a Comet Crush. Oh, it's a replacement for the drone's weapon, okay. We'll go down here, I suppose. You really do have to explore everything. The final boss will eventually be hidden behind, like, 3 keycard doors. There's just no way to avoid it. Oh, look! It's... not a boss fight? What? Oh, there they come. Alright. Might as well shoot all of these while I wait for all the enemies to come down. Yeah, you can improve your capabilities, because it says that when you have something like 100 currency, so at least it's nice enough to remind you. That Comet Crush is pretty cool, actually. Does a lot of damage. Pretty goddamn accurate. In the run that I won, I used a weapon called the Vengeful Sword, which was basically just a homing missile launcher. I was expecting it to be something like, if the drone takes a hit, throw out the same amount of damage back, but I guess not. I find it really hard to get over the whole, like, improperly squashed look that the game's got going on. It just looks so weird. On the Vita, it's not noticeable, but this video is probably going to look really strange on a YouTube video where all of the pixels are either just squashed or stretched. Like, it's like a video that's been pushed down and just, like, it's hard to explain. I don't know how this game is supposed to look normally, but it's just odd. You'll just have to trust me on that one if you can't see it. Give me another weapon upgrade. Right, we've hit the end of this chain, so I guess we have to go down here and open one of the keycard doors now. The run that I won took about 38 minutes. So, you know, that's a thing. The game at least has some longevity to it, but it's not helped out by the fact that there's no real reason to keep coming back. Once you've beaten the game once, you've seen practically everything there is to see except for like all the different weaponry. There's no unlockables for winning, a la The Binding of Isaac. There's no shop to buy anything in, a la Enter the Gungeon. There's no, like, post-game level-ups, a la Slay the Spire or One Step from Eden. There's nothing to make you keep going on repeated runs, because once you see everything there is to see, there's no reason to do anything else. Dismantle tool. I'm not particularly interested in that. Not for 20 orange credits anyway. Orange credits are rarer than the blue credits. I don't even know what the actual names for those credits are. That's just what I've been calling them. You get them at random from chests. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to them, so... whatever. I'm not going to say that the game is bad, because it really isn't. It's got a decent amount of mechanics that it doesn't get completely boring. It's got decent game feel. Thanks to the aim assist, the controls definitely don't feel like they're working against me. It has enough enemies, and the bullet patterns do eventually get, like, more distressing. I just wonder if the game would be more enjoyable if it started at, like, level 3 and then worked up to some, like, mythical level 10 or something. Oh, the pulse gun. I like this a lot better than I do the regular machine gun, just because of its overall range. Although I'll happily take the Tesla cannon over it if we run into it again, because the Tesla cannon just gets fucking ridiculous later on. Come on. Just die already, for fuck's sake. I hate those turrets, because they're like the only thing in the game that doesn't have a health bar. And they're also really hard to destroy for some reason. Maybe I should stick with that goddamn machine gun. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to stick with the machine gun this time. See how I do. But that said, though, let's go and buy weapon ammo power-up so that I can actually fire some more shots off every time. See, I've got the dodge, but I'm barely even using it, which just feels weird. Oh, it's this boss fight. This boss fight is strange. So yeah, you basically just got these dudes. It's just like a line of saws that constantly fire out bullets, and you just need to be, like, just firing away at them all the time. And eventually you win. I actually had, like, a melee weapon that was basically a saw blade that reflected, like, back through these dudes. So I'd get, like, 3 hits every single time, and it was a really easy boss fight, but it looks like this time I'm not going to have the same luck. Now that's what I call an actually decent, like, bullet pattern. Nothing bad about that one at all. Meanwhile, this one's just an easy one that gives me, like, plenty of opportunities to get some damage in. I'm actually pretty close to death, but... well, not much I can really do about that. Thankfully, it looks like it'll be dead before it has a chance to get out another one of those massive spread patterns. I lied! Or rather, the game surprised me. Thankfully, it's over. Did manage to get the Blitz, at least, so... it might give me an armor power-up so that I can live the next... okay. I need plug-in slot to equip this item. Great. Thankfully, all the pickups stick around, so it's not like it's not like it's going anywhere, but... let's see, we've got a level 4 over there, and down there we got a level 3, but it's a keycard, so we'll unlock it. Oh yeah, it's a resource area. These come up once or twice per game. Some resources, a key chip, and you can sync a backup. I think those are extra lives, but I've never had enough money when I come across this place to actually, like, test that theory. Can I upgrade anything? I can upgrade the Combat Crush. It's probably a good idea, actually. Oh, it's this room. Yay, armor. I'm not going to be able to destroy those turrets until all of the enemies that will eventually spawn in die as well, so... yeah, this is actually a bit more difficult, and actually a bit more enjoyable as a result. Shit. Shit! Okay. I guess we lose. Oh well, better I not show you the entire game anyway, but... still, that was a look at, what the fuck was this game called again? Rush Rover, thank you. Yes. But look, just to prove that I wasn't humble bragging earlier, I actually did take a screenshot of the, win that I got. Hope there's nothing lewd in this, screenshots here. Oh, no, it's nothing but Revenge of the Bird King screenshots, Pro Yaku Spirits 2019 screenshots, and my Rush Rover run where I won. See? 31 rooms cleared, 17 unscathed, 27 speed run. So, and that was my second game, and 49 minutes. That's longer than I remember. But yeah, it's definitely a surprisingly easy game once you get used to it. Not a terrible game, and I mean they only charged $5 for it, which might be reasonable. But it's basically got no style, and it starts out too easy. If you get the right upgrade path, it stays too easy. So you might be a little bit disappointed in that sense, but you know what? Of the 4 games that I've played on the Vita recently, I will call this the best one by a significant margin, just because it's actually got decent mechanics, decent boss fights, and just like a general game behind it that is somewhat enjoyable. So there you go. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.